went back to the lovely baby blue afghan he was knitting, which matched the fine sweater I wore that evening. I, in turn, went back to the guest list. Not for my wedding. For my surprise birthday party. Which wasn't a surprise at all, but I wasn't telling. It was a short list. My mom, my dad, my stepmother Antonia, her baby John, my landlord Jessica, my fiancé Eric Sinclair, Mark, my sister Laura, Garrett's mate, the other Antonia, our friendly neighborhood police officer Nick, Sinclair's friend Tina, former vampire hunter John, and of course, Garrett. Almost all of these people I had met after I died. Of course, half of these guests were dead people. Even Mark, who was alive, often put it, "Why not be dead? Most of my ex-boyfriends act like I am anyway." Jessica and I kept trying to fix him up, but the few gay guys we knew were not Mark's type. Not that we had any idea what Mark's type was. On top of that, fixing people up is hard. Almost as hard as, well, trying not to drink blood. I tapped my pencil on the pad, trying to come up with a plan to tell Eric before the wedding that I had decided to completely give up the blood drinking thing. I figured being the vampire queen had a few advantages. As it was, every vampire I'd ever known had to drink every day, even Eric. But I could go up to a week without so much as a drop of O-neg, without any shakes or desperate pleas for stray rats. So in honor of my birthday, and of being in this shit queen job for a year, I figured I'd give it up completely. I would be in a blood-free zone. But Eric would be tricky. Normally he ignored whatever I did, but during our intimate moments, someone always got bitten. Sometimes more than once. It squeaked me out to try to explain it, but drinking during sex just made the whole thing better. "Lame, Betsy," Jessica said, coming into the kitchen and glancing over my shoulder as she headed for the espresso maker. "I can't believe you're making a list of birthday presents. Miss Manners would be rolling in her grave." Miss Manners is still alive. Besides, it's not a list of presents. It's a list of people you're going to invite to my surprise party. Jessica, a painfully skinny nag with gorgeous skin the color of Godiva milk chocolate, laughed at me. "Honey, it hurts me to say this, like a sliver in the eyeball, but we're not planning a party. Although," I added, "you don't have to try too hard to get the aunt there. I wouldn't mind if she missed it." "Sugar." She gave up the espresso maker as too complicated. This was a nightly ritual, and fixed herself a glass of chocolate milk instead. "You made it perfectly clear 2 months ago. No party. And we believed you. So stop making guest lists and worrying about your stepmother showing up. It's not happening."
"Are we talking about the non-existent surprise party?"
Tina asked, startling me as her bare feet slid noiselessly across the spotless shamrock green kitchen tile. "I'm putting bells around your pretty petite ankles," I told her. Jessica had nearly choked on her drink. Tina had so startled her. She took a breath and said, "She tells us our lives won't be worth living if we throw her a party. Then she makes a guest list."
"Constancy, thy name is Queen Elizabeth,"
Tina murmured as she slid her tiny butt onto the breakfast nook bar stool next to George. Garrett. She was dressed like the most tempting college student in creation. As usual. Long blonde curls, big pansy eyes, knee-length black skirt, white designer t-shirt, bare legs, black pumps. Most college students nowadays hadn't witnessed the Civil War, but undead bombshells like Tina just didn't let go of their perky tits.
What do you want for your birthday, Majesty?
She was asking me, as I stared jealously at those ageless melons. Her duties nowadays were the equivalent to serving as best man to Eric, whom she had turned into a vampire decades ago. Nowadays, instead of sucking his blood, she limited herself to smoothing out the morning edition of the Wall Street Journal, fixing his tea the way he liked it, and setting out gobs of paperwork for him to look through.
Some nice shoes, I suppose.
You suppose wrong, I replied. I want peace on earth, goodwill toward men. Do they have a store for that at the mall? Jessica asked innocently. Or maybe one of those sales carts in the walkways, right next to the portrait artist and the guy selling t-shirts with pithy sex jokes? She was shamelessly stealing peeks at the memos Tina laid out neatly on the marble countertop. It'd be the only thing they don't have, I said. Tina, Jessica, I know you. I know I told you not to throw a party, and that therefore you will throw one. But if you want to keep up the deceit, fine, no party. Instead, find a quiet moment to pray for the aforementioned world peace and global harmony, or failing that, snag me a gift card from Bloomingdale's. Or perhaps a pair of the new Prada loafers, Jessica added. No, I'm sick of loafers. Spring is here. I want some strappy sandals. Which was kind of silly. I couldn't wear them with socks, and these days my extremities were pretty icy. But still, I was sick of winter, and this was Minnesota. We had at least 2 more months of snow. Right, Jess said. Because you don't have enough of those? Why don't you take one of my existing pairs and shove them up your cute black butt? I suggested sweetly. Well, Ms. Taylor, why don't you take your delicate ivory nose and... Tina interrupted the argument du jour.
Majesty, are there any designer shoes you don't like?
Garrett cleared his throat as he started a different stitch. Knit, garter, crochet. It was all the same to me. She doesn't care for Rickard Shaw sandals, especially the gold ones. This is true, I confirmed. They're all like something out of the Boogie Nights prop drawer. I mean, what year is this? I'd pay $200 not to wear them. No need for that, Eric Sinclair said, ignoring my yelp and Jessica's flinch. He was worse than Tina. Where she slithered silently, he teleported like an alien. A tall, broad-shouldered, dark-haired, dark-eyed, yummalicious alien. You have 1,000 pairs of sandals. Do not. Leave me alone and read your papers. Guest list? He asked, leaning over my shoulder and peering at my pad. But you don't want a party. You're damned right I don't. I slapped my notebook shut. In fact, I didn't. I was pretty sure. How many times do I have to say it? Don't get me wrong. I can hear myself. And I'm very self-aware regarding all my little tics and annoying quirks. Nothing triggers Maslowian self-actualization like getting body slammed by a Pontiac Aztec. But no matter how bad I sound to myself, I can't help it. My situation is impossible. You'd be amazed how often I'm ignored, even though I am the so-called queen of vampires. Repeating myself ad nauseum is one of the many ways I try to make myself heard. I am too new to the game to be quietly tough like Sinclair, not smart like Tina, not wealthy like Jess, not an all-seeing ghost like Kathy, not a clever doc like Mark, or an indifferent psychic werewolf like Antonia. You know what it's like to be called a queen and have the least to offer among all the people you know? It's a huge ego hit. We got it, Betsy, Jessica was saying. No party. Fine.